Hello, this is Dr. J, back with some more Let's Play Legend of Zelda, the third quest. Having completed the third dungeon, now we are going to see if we are able to get the so-called white sword, which I think really all that means is it is a metal sword as opposed to the wooden sword that we start the game with. We'll go ahead and call it the white sword, as the game does. Cut our way through some blue moblins. Some people, I guess, regard it as lazy, I suppose, to have quote-unquote new enemy types by just changing their color. Palette swapping, in other words. But I actually like it. I mean, it can be overused, of course. But I think it's kind of cool when you encounter the same enemy, but it's a new color. Because it immediately gives you information. This is going to be similar to an enemy that you encountered before, but it's a tougher version thereof. Yep, and the tornadoes are now gone since we've cleared level 3, so we can now get up here and access what is to the north of this area. Look at all these Lynels. We don't have the shield to block their attacks, and we still have the weakest sword, so they take 4 hits to kill them. If we didn't have the blue ring, they'd be extremely threatening. I believe there's another secret here. And this old man tells us the graveyard hides a secret. So if we go up to the graveyard... so in the original Zelda, the graveyard was like 4 screens or 6 screens, which was really unnecessarily large. It's only a single screen in the remake. This, I feel, is one of the examples of the compressed world map actually being a good thing. The graveyard, in my opinion, doesn't really need to be more than a single screen. Alright, so the white sword is going to be somewhere here. I think it's in one of these graves, actually. There we go. Master using it, and you can have this. Which all that means is you need to have a certain number of heart containers. And now our attack power is doubled. Thank goodness. I was getting a little annoyed with how many hits it took to kill all the enemies. This is going to help a great deal. Let's try out our shiny new sword on some of the enemies in the screen south of here. And enjoy our newfound power. Oh, look at that. Just 2 hits to kill a red Lynel now. Such a big improvement. I won't bother with that last P-hat. Okay, I don't remember if the shop to the northwest of here sells magic shields or not. But I'm going to check to see if it does so that I can actually block things like Lynel swords and Zora bullets. And we can kill Zoras now, which is very welcome. He does not, so we're going to have to wait a little longer on that because I'm not going to go way out of my way for it. And that being the case, there is a pier. You can launch your raft from piers. You can't just launch it wherever you want. Link is very law-abiding like that, I guess, in this monster-infested wilderness. But we have the money for it, so let's go ahead and buy some red medicine. believe that's good for 2 uses. So between that, all of our heart containers, and our blue ring, we should be equipped to take enormous amounts of punishment now, which is good because I take a lot of unnecessary hits in this game. And so the pier leads us to the 4th dungeon on this island here with a very intimidating demonic face leading down into it. I quite like that, very flavorful. I have mixed feelings about the statues flanking it with their tongues sticking out. That's as much goofy as it is intimidating, but that's okay. Alright, and now we enter Dungeon 4, which has a very green sheen to it. And this introduces us to dark rooms, which can only be illuminated using the candle. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can try to navigate these rooms without using the candle, but I'm not going to do that. It's not like I have these rooms memorized, not even close to it. And if you don't have the rooms memorized and you can't see, it can be quite the challenge trying to get through them. I generally try to make it a habit to kill all the enemies in rooms for exactly the reason we just saw. Sometimes you have to kill all the enemies to make a secret appear, such as this key. Bunch of keys. That's strange. That made the "you just uncovered a secret" noise, and it almost sounded like an item appeared, but I don't see anything. I wonder if that was some kind of glitch. Dark nuts. They will be easier to handle with our white sword and the fact that we have full health, so we have ranged sword beam attacks. Didn't need those bombs, but the fact that it gave us those bombs makes me wonder if there's a bombable wall in this very room. No. Okay. Just wanted to check that. Trigger the trap. I think the reason that those... Okay, so we see that this dungeon is an I, so we've got Saint G.I. so far. And I think the reason that those... I forget what they're called. Gels or Zols. Oops, thought I had the candle out. Aren't spawning the smaller version is because we now have the white sword, so we're doing more damage. Alright, so we can't pick up keys with our boomerang, and obviously we don't have what we need to cross this 1 tile wide water to get at that key, which means one of 3 things. Either A, there's going to be a bombable wall leading into this room, B, there's going to be a secret staircase plus a bombable wall leading into that room, or C, we need the dungeon item to get that. I'm going to proceed onward for now and assume that we need the dungeon item to get it. We'll come back for it if that turns out not to be the case. This is a Moldorm, I believe. It is just a bunch of circles representing a worm in the first Zelda game. Later on, of course, they actually take on the appearance of giant monster worms. And so they look a little less... I don't know, I mean, I guess this is kind of surreal in its way. But it's almost more like abstract art than an actual monster. And as long as you have a ranged weapon, it's not very threatening. If you don't, then they're actually a pain to fight because of their extremely random movement patterns. Those are bubbles. They will temporarily curse you, which means that you can't use your sword. However, the curse does not last very long at all, so they're just more of a mild inconvenience than anything. Depending on the room, just the fact that they bump into you and move you a bit when they hit you is actually a bigger problem than the very short-lived curse they put on you. Okay, so we need a key to proceed here and we don't have one. So it's time to start looking for bombable walls then. And I'm just going to put bombs all over the place. Running low on them now. Hope I don't run out and have to go grind for bombs, because that would be very irritating. If that happens, I'll cut that out. I won't make you watch that. So, could be a bombable wall here. And there is. Which leads us to the small key we needed. We can be pretty confident there's not going to be a bombable wall to the south because the compass tells us that's where the Triforce piece is. And they're not going to give us a shortcut right to the Triforce piece bypassing most of the dungeon. The Dark Nuts have respawned. No reason to fight them again. And now we have the key we need to get through this door. Progress. Yet another door. Search for the key for... Okay, so these are like-likes. Like-likes are a widely hated enemy. I share that hatred because if they catch you, they will eat your shield. I don't think they can eat your ordinary shield, if I remember right. But if you have a magic shield, they will eat that. It's very irritating if it happens. They also have unbelievable amounts of hit points. That bomb refresh is very welcome. Here we have an old man who gives us a hint. There are beings weak to sound. We're going to learn what that means shortly, I think. He wouldn't be giving us that hint if we weren't about to encounter the enemies he's referring to. More Dark Nuts. One of them tried to get a cheap shot off on me as I entered the room. But he failed. We're getting wise to their tricks. Alright, so we got the key, and there's also a staircase, which leads to the dungeon item. Here it's an ocarina. It was a recorder, or flute in the original game. The ocarina is the only item that can kill certain enemies, or the best item to kill certain enemies, not necessarily the only one. And, right, we need a key down here, I think. And it's also needed for one or two puzzles in the game. Not very many, but it occurs once or twice. And the other big use of the ocarina in this game is teleportation. You can use it to warp between the entrances of dungeons that you've cleared, which is extremely useful for not having to traverse the entire overworld all the time. Boy, like-likes are tough. Remember, we have the white sword now. We're doing double damage, and it still takes a lot of hits to kill those things. Stupid bubble. The bubbles are fast, and like pretty much every enemy, they have random movement patterns. The combination makes them pretty hard to avoid sometimes. Okay, so those weird rabbit heads, fox rabbit heads, are called Pole's Voices. They may be killable with other weapons, but if so, they take a bazillion hits. The fast way to kill them, this is one of the beings weak to sound, is with the ocarina. And they just disappear in a puff. Definitely recommend killing them that way instead of with sword hits, because they take like a million of them. I think in the original game they might have been straight up unkillable with the sword. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not positive. In the Japanese version of Legend of Zelda, there was actually a microphone that you had to shout into in order to kill those things. There was no microphone for the American version of the hardware, so they had to change how to kill them for the American version of the game. And this guy I think is called the Dig Dogger. We can separate him into a bunch of smaller Dig Doggers with the ocarina, and then they become vulnerable. If I was faster, I might have been able to hit all of them with the bomb. Oh, last one's got some hit points, but we got him. Boss fights are mostly a non-event in the original Legend of Zelda. There's maybe a couple bosses that can be tough, but most of them not so much. Okay, we got through that dungeon pretty quick, so we're going to go ahead and continue onward and not end the video right there. I don't know if we'll be able to get through the entire 5th dungeon as well. We'll see how far we can get before we reach a good stopping point. Still can't do anything with these Armos statues. It's time to return to the original eastern half of the Overworld. This is where we're going to find level 5, I do believe. While we're at it, it might finally be time to pick up a magic shield. That is not the shop. I think the shop was in the previous screen, wasn't it? Yeah, it's right there. I went right by it. I'm just derping out. Still 130. Pretty sure we can get it cheaper somewhere else, but you know, we've got the money. And it's useful. Let's pick it up right here. Don't know why you'd buy the blue candle again. I don't think you can lose that. You know, I wonder if I missed... I'm gonna backtrack, actually. I think I missed something in level 4. I think there's a bomb upgrade that I didn't get. Which, right after I was talking about how it's really easy to miss things in some of these dungeons, I think I totally did. So, this might end up being another one dungeon video after all. But I'll maybe not, because I might cut a lot of this out too. Yeah, checking the map, look up there, the northwest. Totally forgot that there is a hidden room there. Bombable wall, pretty sure it leads to a bomb capacity upgrade. Well, we got some backtracking to do. I think I'll cut this out so you don't have to watch it. Okay, we're back, and now we can continue our journey to level 5. Having acquired the bomb upgrade that we almost forgot about. Would have been easier to get it while we were there, but that's okay. Not a big deal. I believe level 5 also has a bomb upgrade, so hopefully I won't forget about it this time. I want to kill that Zora just because he annoyed me. Eat it, Zora. And now that we have the... Actually... Yeah, we got the Ocarina in that dungeon. I was almost going to say, now that we have the stepladder, we can get this, but we didn't get the stepladder, we got the Ocarina. It would help if I remembered what item we got. Okay, so this is another pier, which is going to take us across the water to another new area. We are now in the northern half of the overworld. These levers are irritating. And we go in this first cave here. And the old man gives us a hint for finding level 5. Climb the cliff behind the grave, the soldier's guard. It's very explicit, not really even cryptic at all. Walked right into that. Alright, and that is a very conspicuous bush, so we're going to go ahead and... did I miss? I thought that bush had a secret. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Huh. Would have sworn it does, but... I guess I missed... Okay, I just had to hit directly on top of it. And that was worthless because it's just a money-making game. Which can make you rich if you cheat with save states, but I'm not going to do that. If we go a little farther... Another secret here. Okay, so you may notice in the second between when I entered this cave and now, some things have changed. My number of rupees is probably different, and I don't have the magic shield. That is because, due to a series of unfortunate mishaps, I lost my progress from when I finished level 3 up to this point, and so I had to redo all of that. So my number of rupees is obviously going to be different because I wouldn't have collected exactly the same number of them. And I realized that the place where I can get the magic shield cheaper is pretty much very close to here. So I decided to hold off on buying it. Other than that, everything should be exactly the same. And we will pick up from where we left off. Hopefully not have any more mishaps that cause us to lose progress. So in this little area, which I think is pretty much identical to a screen from the original Legend of Zelda, we are in the Death Mountain vicinity now. We see a cavern, and we see an old man who says, "I'm currently seeking the strongest sword." I think what that means is we need to complete more levels before he'll offer us the final sword, which in the original game is called the Magical Sword, but in this remake is called the Master Sword. And of course we will, I believe, need an appropriate number of heart containers before we can get it, even once he offers it. So we'll have to come back to that later. And Death Mountain is absolutely filled with levers. I won't bother killing that last one. And not exactly subtle with that giant arrow made of rocks there. And we got ambushed by a Tektite as soon as we entered the screen again. Add that to my list of complaints, the fact that that happens so much. Again, I love this game a lot, but no game is perfect. So there are going to be things about it that I have criticisms of. And the magic shield was 40 rupees cheaper here, so saved some money by holding off after redoing my progress. I think there is another hidden cave very near... Actually, I think it's on the previous screen. About here? Yes. Another hidden rupee cave. Very welcome. I think we're doing just fine with rupees in this playthrough. any of these Armo statues come to life. Get the P-Hat while it's vulnerable. P-Hats are some of the most annoying enemies in the game. So you may remember an old man gave us a hint that we wanted to climb the mountain behind the grave that had guards. Of course was referring to that. And if we really needed a potion, we could buy it here. Oh, I don't think I bought the potion when I redid my progress, which means, once again, I'm saving a bundle of money. So it's not such a bad thing that I had to redo all that progress. Anyway, this marks the entrance to level 5. So, we're going to go ahead and pick up with doing level 5 in the next video. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I'll see you then. Bye!